All parents make an unspoken promise to care for their child, but one local man is now sharing his promise he made.
He put it all in print, and it wasn't easy. This book details the final months of his grown daughter's life, the promises he made to, as he called her, his little girl, and the lessons in life she taught him.
I've never written anything before in my life.
But now, this retired Navy man has written the book of his life.
It was hard to do, but it was also therapeutic, very therapeutic. And just like she said, one day it will help you.
She was Brendan Hoffman's daughter, Dawn, his spunky sidekick, whose life suddenly took an about-face at 28 when she was diagnosed with malignant melanoma, a cancer that's curable if caught early. Hers was not.
One of Dawn's things was don't sugarcoat nothing. You tell me the facts now. Don't sugarcoat nothing. And he flat out came out and said that we found 8 tumors on your brain, and you have 6 months to a year to live. We lost it. We just started crying, and she looked at me and said, "Daddy." And all of a sudden, she stepped back. She put her hands on my arms, and she says, "Daddy, I am so sorry. I know how much you love me, and I know this will break your heart."
He was stunned. His daughter just found out she's terminal, and her first concern is for her dad.
I saw a total change in her from that day forward. It was like she was already at ease with it, and she just found out 2 minutes before.
Dawn spent much of those last months out on the porch.
6, 7, 8 hours a day reading and taking notes of the Bible.
She told Brendan she wanted him to keep those notes and give them to her children when they're older.
But she also told me in the meantime that I needed to read them and study them.
One of the promises he made to his little girl, another one really hit home.
She says, "You know, Daddy, I'm leaving this earth a lot earlier than I had planned." And she says, "You know I'm going to heaven." I said, "Yes, I do." And she goes, "You know, one day we can be together again." I said to her, "What do you mean we can? We will." She says, "Not if you don't bring God back into your heart."
He had strayed from the church, and God had taken a back seat to all the busyness in his world. His little girl opened his eyes. When she passed, he sat up, writing, most of it in the wee hours of the morning, upstairs in his Ohio State Buckeye man cave.
I made a promise to Dawn, if that book can help one parent relieve some of their pain, it was worth it. It was worth writing. Dawn knew I didn't write. If it didn't pertain to a baseball or football or basketball, I couldn't write nothing. She challenged me. And, I mean, I'm far from being a good author, but that book does hit home. She said, "You just reach deep down into your heart, and you pull them feelings out, and you put them on paper." And she was right.
But he hesitated once the book was finished to publish it, afraid to reveal to others such a personal side of himself.
But the promise was to get it out, so it'll help others. So I said, to heck with what people think. You know, I'm keeping my promise to my girl.
Even though it was the hardest 10 months, it was the best 10 months.
This stepmother, who Dawn affectionately referred to as her mother by marriage, got to know Dawn like never before. It was a privilege to sit for hours just talking.
There were times that before she ever got sick, I would feel like maybe I wasn't a part of something because she confided everything in to him. But in those 10 months, I was very honored.
And she's impressed now. Her husband opened up to write this book.
He shared his feelings, and I'm so proud of him. I am so proud. And I know Dawn is too. She's proud of her daddy.
From the heart.
From the heart.
Every bit of it.
You know, one reader who bought the book, Daddy's Promise, on Amazon, wrote a lengthy review, noting at the very end of it, this book needs to be in all cancer centers, all doctors' offices, and all Starbucks.
Dawn loved Starbucks. I have to say, while reading the book, I was amazed how many times the coffee giant is mentioned. I think I mentioned that to you. It's like an ad for Starbucks. But, you know, Brendan, Tom, was with Dawn's side 24 hours a day for the last 10 months of her life. There were tears. There were a lot of laughs because actually she was quite a prankster, too. But most of all, the bond between this father and daughter just grew even stronger. It's an incredible story.
And the biggest promise of them all was writing the book?
Writing the book and getting the word out about the cancer that took her life, malignant melanoma, the awareness of skin cancer. And she would say, but Daddy, I only use the tanning bed twice a month. I want a little color. He's convinced tanning beds brought on that cancer and the Florida sunshine, of course. The book is also a guide for surviving a child's death. Brendan says he feels the same pain now, Tom, that he did the day that she died. He says, though, he will continue to keep writing to help other patients with the pain. And I want to tell you, too, Daddy's Promise is available on online at booksamillion.com, barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com, and Trayford Publishing. And it should be available in bookstores soon because it's going into its second printing now.
How gratifying to him, that many people reading that book.
It's incredible. I think he looks at it as a blessing, you know, and that he just keeps learning from his little girl.
Thank you for the story.
Mm-hmm.